Hi, and welcome to the Kismet podcast with me, Jackie Abramov. I'm so happy you're here. I am an Aries sun, Libra moon, and Taurus rising, and I'm a 12th house mystic. I have Neptune conjunct my south node in Sagittarius in the eighth house. And so, if you know anything about astrology, you know that I'm here for the mystery and the magic and the kismet of life. And that's why I'm doing this podcast. I want to stir your inner mystic to remember and reconnect and align to your most authentic self, to your autonomy, your personal power, so that you can get into your body and liberate your life. So, I'm a Western tropical astrologer and I'm specializing in energy blocks that are found in our shadow. And I developed my own technique called somatic release and reprogramming. And this is a method in which I teach you how to tune in with your nervous system and release deep grief and anxieties, and then reprogram the unconscious mind in the shadow. So today's podcast is near and dear to my heart because Aquarius is my midheaven. And this new moon is happening in my 10th house. And I'm here on this planet for liberation. To me, liberation is all about the freedom to individuate, to experience and express and align to your own authentic code, to take away all judgment, and to be able to move throughout the world freely with grace and to be able to manifest without burnout and exhaustion. And this is the Aquarian energy of individuation. And if you know anything about me, you know I'm obsessed with individuation. Individuation means that you don't have to be a follower and that you can actually become the leader of your life. This new moon in Aquarius invites these winds of change. And the last few weeks have been a time of purging, of stripping things down and releasing. And this is because we are on the brink of new doors opening. Now, the new moon's a time of darkness, and that symbolizes a time for us to plant our seeds of intention. So, this lunar new year and the new moon are happening at the same time, and it's happening at 9 degrees 51 minutes of Aquarius. So, if you have your chart, you would want to just check in and see where is that degree in your chart, and that will tell you what house and if there's any planets or points that might be affecting your chart. Now, the Lunar New Year relates to the Chinese New Year, which is always the second new moon after the winter solstice. So it varies from year to year. But this Lunar New Year is the year of the wood snake. And the wood snake relates to Taurus energy. And this is very interesting connection to this new moon because Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and Uranus is in Taurus and has been since 2018, 2019. So for about 7 years, and Uranus will be moving out of Taurus this year. So this is the snake energy that reminds us that we don't have to move fast, but that we can move methodically. There's a connection to this feeling of coiling and striking, which is very Uranus and Taurus. A feeling of being slow and wise and knowing when to strike. Taurus energy connects us with our self-worth. And this whole year is about shedding what is not aligned to our self-worth. And that means relationships, circumstances, friendships, ways of being in the world. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with anyone or anything. It's simply recognizing what's no longer authentic for us and what no longer aligns for our self-worth. And Uranus in Taurus has been doing this for the last 7 years, shaking us up to realize that our worth is not in the material world. Our worth is in our being. And no one can give us worth, right? This is something so important to remember, that when we have actual self-worth, We won't stay in places that don't align for us. We will not stay connected with people who don't value us. We won't be in places that we don't value. Because when we are in our worth, we'll know that an energy doesn't align or resonate. So this is really important to remember as we're moving through things right now and throughout this year. And of course, this is also a 9-year in numerology, meaning that there's going to be a lot of endings and we're on the precipitation of new beginnings. So it's also very interesting that this new moon is at the Sabian symbol that reads popularity that proves ephemeral. And essentially, this means that popularity is short-lived, or what is popular is short-lived. And this is so key to what I'm going to talk about today because popularity is based on the illusion. And Aquarius energy is actually not about following what's popular. It's actually stepping away from what is popular and aligning to one's own truth, not something that other people are pushing you towards. So Aquarius is an air energy. A lot of people think that it is a water energy because the symbol is the symbol of the water bearer. So it does relate to the information that's connected to water and the wisdom that's held within water, but it is an air sign. And so this air energy is all about the energy of freedom. It's about this free and liberated state of being. And, this kind of reminds me that a lot of people associate Aquarius with philanthropy and philanthropic work. And it's very interesting because often people will do a lot of really good things in the world or that look really good, but they themselves are not internally liberated. And therefore, so much of what they're doing is connected with an illusion. And they're, in a sense, deceiving themselves. And I'm not saying that's wrong or bad, but it does keep people in a state of shadow. And there's a very famous quote. It's been attributed to Mother Teresa, although I do not think that she is the one who said this. But it's basically that if you want peace in the world, go home and love your family. And essentially, that means if you can't love your family, then you're not bringing peace into the world. And if you are a human being, you know that we have a ton of trauma with our families. Everyone does. There's always someone or something happening in the family that's bringing up trauma or drama. And if you are gossiping or talking about or thinking you need to fix or say something about someone, anyone in your family, you are not partaking in bringing peace in the world. I'm not saying that's wrong, but we just need to be clear about what we're doing. Bringing peace into the world has to do with speaking love and kindness into other people and not gossiping about them or not thinking that we know what they should or shouldn't be doing with their lives. So if you want to change the world, you want peace in the world, learn how to love the people that you have so much tension with. And if it's not your family that you have tension with, then go home and love the people that you have tension with, because that's how you're going to bring peace into the world. Love the people that you don't think you can love. So, yes, I've seen this over and over in people who think that they want to help and change the world. But if we don't help ourselves, we don't change our own hearts, if we don't create peace from within, then we cannot create it out in the world. And this is a key thing to know. If you want to individuate, if you want to free yourself, if you want to live liberated, you have to understand your shadow. And this is, Aquarius, all of the astrological signs point us to understanding our shadow. So another thing that Aquarius relates strongly to is this ability to understand things from a higher perspective, from a clear and non-judgmental viewpoint. So it can be a very idealistic energy. but it has this essence of clear knowing, clear cognizance. The highest expressions are about connecting with individuality, being independent, not needing to follow a crowd, not doing what is popular. And this is the essence of individuation. This was a term that was coined by Carl Jung, and essentially it means that we choose to separate from the cultural and societal norms, and we choose our own way of beliefs and our own path in life. And to individuate means that we do not push that onto others. We don't expect others to believe what we believe or see the world the way we see the world. Individuation means we understand we are separate and we are still connected. So inherently, individuation means that we don't need to overly associate with any particular group or community. And rather than that, we associate wholeness within the self. This means we don't need to fit into any particular group, and that we can, in fact, be a part of any gathering without needing to overly associate. And this is what I love about Aquarius energy, is that it is the spirit of having diversity within community, understanding that diversity is all about community. And community doesn't mean sameness. Community means everyone's different, everyone has different roles, everyone has a different identity, different interests. And this is what makes community so interesting. This is what makes connecting with people interesting, when people are different than us, because they have different perspectives. So any group, any community, any network that is hyper-focused on sameness is going to lack diversity. It's going to lack perspective, and it's going to lack understanding the shadow. Now, everyone is subject to getting stuck in groupthink. And of course, anyone who affiliates with a political party is going to be stuck in some form of groupthink. And again, I'm not saying this is wrong, but it lacks true community, because community is about being able to accept people's differences. And this is what equality is about, right? And this is another heartbeat of Aquarian's energy, is that we don't have to be the same. We don't have to be good at the same things. And that actually being different doesn't separate us. It actually is part of what, a whole being is, that there are different parts and every part has a different function. And there is no function that is better than another. And so therefore there is no human that is better than another. And this is the essence of equality, is that just because one person has something doesn't make them better than somebody else. Aquarius is, to me, all about breaking free from the limitations that are put on us from our programming. And I should say that we put on ourselves through programming, through what we see. Now, this full moon, we have a very big stellium in the sign of Aquarius. We have Pluto conjunct Mercury, and then the sun and moon are in Aquarius. So a lot is going to be coming up around recognizing your limitations and which ones are not feeling like they're aligned for you anymore. One thing you could consider asking yourself during this lunation is, who are the people that are around you? Do they allow you to be different? Do they allow you to speak up and say things that are different? Are you allowed to have a different way of believing or seeing the world and express that in the group or in the friendship or in the relationship? And do the people around you celebrate your unique perspectives? Aquarius is about being able to be a part of the world, but also not being attached to being understood, accepted, or loved by everyone. This is the strength of Aquarius, is it's detached. Like, we don't have to all like each other for us to get along, right? We don't have to all like exactly the way other people do things, but we can still be a part of the same world. Now, with Pluto conjunct Mercury, many people are probably going to have a lot of obsessive, compulsive thoughts and intrusive thoughts coming up. Now, it's important to know I say obsessive and intrusive, but whatever your thoughts are that are coming up, these are all patterns of programming that you have programmed yourself with. There's a lot of teachings out there that say that your thoughts are not yours, and that is completely ridiculous because of course your thoughts are yours. They're happening on the inside of you. You have attached to them and you can detach from them, but your thoughts are in you and they're coming up for you to pay attention to. So if you do have obsessive thoughts coming up, then please, please, please pay attention and get some support if you need support. This is what I do. I help people to get into their mind-body connection. And I'm very passionate about this because there's been so much work around get out of your mind, get out of your thoughts. And no, actually, we need to get into our thoughts because our thoughts are what are creating our reality. And our thoughts are happening mainly in the unconscious. So for some people, this is going to be a very difficult experience. And for some people, this could be very helpful because Pluto is in Aquarius and it's conjunct Mercury. You could be feeling really inspired to invest in something, to learn something, to dig into something new. Other people are going to be obsessing over some unhealthy illusions or conspiracy theories about people or about communities or about the world. So no right or wrong here, but if you're experiencing one of the more difficult things, definitely recommend getting some support. So there could be a lot of clarity coming through with this new moon. You could be seeing the truth about some friendships, about some groups of people, around some networks. There could be some ability to see the pretense that you hadn't seen before, maybe where things are superficial or where there's an inauthentic energy. And you might be feeling really clear about where you're not in alignment with people anymore. And that's going to be really helpful to connect back to what does individuation mean to you? And can you be okay not being a part of the group? Maybe not needing to over associate with a group anymore. Now, the sun and the moon are receiving a trine from Jupiter, and this is a flowing energy, new ideas coming in. This could be that something from the past is coming back up to the surface, something that you have been thinking about or has been, on the mind for a while, and you're ready for some growth in some area of your life. Something you've wanted to learn, wanted to work on, possibly, last summer, and now you're suddenly feeling like you are ready to invest in that or move forward with that. This could be very expansive in a project that you want to work on, or like I said, something that you want to, some growth area of your life. It could be financially very beneficial also. You do want to pay attention to what might be limiting you because Jupiter's in Gemini and Jupiter's expanding all the limitations here. Where do you feel stuck? What are the thoughts? What are the things that are holding you back? Something really important with all of this air energy to remember is that everything that you consume with your eyes and your ears are programming you. Everything you ingest through your eyes and your ears are going into you as a program. And you're writing a story about what life means based on what you see and what you hear and what you read and what people say to you. So definitely recommend paying close attention. Is there something you maybe need to cut out of your life that is not serving your inner program. We also have this huge stellium of energy happening in Pisces. We have Venus, Neptune in the North Node conjunct, and then Saturn is also there. And this tells me that there's a lot related to healing and karma and the unconscious mind that's going to be a part of what is happening over this 6 month cycle from this new moon until the full moon, and maybe even until the next year. You know, we're in such a crucial time of soul healing. And to me, you know, soul healing means learning about your shadow and your unconscious. Because all healing is knowing yourself fully. Healing doesn't have to be this hard work and this, you know, difficult, arduous thing. Healing is about knowing the shadow self. And when you truly know yourself and your own shadow, you realize there's no longer anything to fear in the world because everything exists within you. Obviously, I'm saying that, and that is also takes time, and it takes energy, and it takes intention to know thyself. So another interesting aspect that's happening here is Venus is making a trine to Juno and a sextile to Uranus. And Uranus is in opposition to Juno. So this tells me a lot of big things, a lot of themes are coming up related to relationships and partnerships. Specifically, like feminine energy is pretty hot and heavy um, in this lunation. A lot of endings might come up suddenly, or sudden unexpected encounters and meetings with new people and partnerships. These do look like positive energies, but sometimes positive things are endings and sometimes positive things are, you know, new meetings. So it could be either. Um, you know, with all this Venus in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces and North Node in Pisces, there's a lot of like deeply loving energy that could be available, highly romantic. But the other side of that is the illusions. So there's a mixed bag of energy, of course, with Pisces. In some ways, you could be really getting inspiration and dreams and connecting to the muse and connecting to divine source and connecting to the unseen in the spirit world. But you could also get completely tied up in an illusion of a partner or an illusion of love. So sometimes we need the illusions, and the illusions help us. So I'm not saying they're bad, but you just want to understand if you're in the illusion so you can know how to work with it. Now, really interesting is the day after this new moon, we have Uranus stationing direct. And this is huge because Uranus rules the sun and the moon, all that Aquarius energy. And symbolically, this is like showing us that something is going to break through. Like all this tension that might be building up, something's about to expand out of that, like a shock or a surprise. Uranus's synchronicities. Um, this is about waking up and taking off and shifting and breaking, you know, into a new um, level of your beingness, especially because we have Uranus in Taurus. And this is all, like I told you, it's all about, can you find liberation in your body, in being in your body, not based on material wealth. So all the material things are being shaken up, and we're needing to find our worthiness in the soul self, in the beingness. So, like I said, the new moon has a 6 month window of growth. And then around August the 9th, we have that full moon in Aquarius. And this might be when you want to look back on this period of time and see, you know, what's grown, what's taken root in your life. And this is why we set intentions on the new moon. So as you're getting ready to set your intentions, there are some key insights and thoughts that I want to share with you to encourage you to think about as you're prepared to set intentions under the new moon. So this new moon happens January 29th at 5:35 a.m. and that's in Arizona. And I want you to be thinking about number one, in what ways are you confined in your own mind? Now, this takes being honest with yourself, asking yourself, are you really free? And if you're not, what liberation do you need? If you're listening to this and you are not totally liberated, that is okay. I don't think anybody is. But it's important to remember that we're on a journey of liberation. And liberation doesn't happen all at once. It happens little bits at a time. So you want to think about, where have you been fixed on needing something to be a certain way? And what is your intention? How can you break free from needing things to be a certain way? What would it look like? What would it feel like if you were more free? Now, I do want to mention the shadow of this energy, which is about rebellion. Now, the reason we rebel is because we don't know how to liberate ourselves. So I love the energy of the rebel. I consider myself a rebel, but if you're doing the rebel energy to be cool or to get attention, then you really aren't liberating yourself, because you're actually still looking for someone outside of you to validate you. And you'll know if that's happening because you'll get disappointed if you don't get validated. So true rebellion, true liberation is connected with this feeling of being okay, not being accepted, not being liked, and not needing to make any kind of a spectacle of it, not needing to show everybody in the world how you weren't accepted by others. Because that's still wanting people to validate you. Okay, number two, what does it mean for you to individuate in this season of your life? So individuation relates to connecting to your unique path. It's about knowing your worthiness, and it's about focusing on determining what is an alignment for you that is different than what is an alignment for everyone else. This means that you may disappoint others, you may not fit into a group, and you may not be what others want you to be. So definitely it's something important to contemplate under this new moon, because, like I said, Aquarius is the strongest energy related to individuation. Okay, number three, detachment. Detachment is so key for the strength of Aquarian energy. When we detach, we let go of what others are doing, what others think about us. We release needing to fit in, and instead we forge our own path. So detachment is about recognizing where you have been overly attached to wanting to fit in. Maybe where you've been overly attached to following after someone else, needing someone else, and instead releasing and letting that go and trusting that you're on your own path. All right. Last point that I want to talk about for your, contemplation under your intentions and what are you setting for your intentions is, where's your power? Because your attention goes where your energy flows, and your attention is your energy, and your attention and your energy are your power. And power struggles are big right now, especially with Pluto in Aquarius, especially around groups and networks, around friendships. So if you're aligned to groups, are you engaged in this idea that groups are going to save you or fix the world or save others? This is a key thing to be thinking about. When we engage with groups as the savior, we don't just limit our power, we give it away. And with Pluto in Aquarius for the next 19 years and this Aquarian age, this is absolutely about becoming your own liberator and not relying on a government or group or authority or anyone outside of you to do any sort of liberating. No liberation comes from force. Liberation only comes from within. So set some intentions around, where are you giving your power away? Where are you looking for someone else or something else to liberate you? And what would it mean for you to take that power back? Okay, so the coming weeks are offering deep inner healing. Specifically, this weekend and the triple conjunction we're going to have with Venus, Neptune, and the North Node. Um, there's so much beautiful Piscean energy that offers us deep, deep, deep soul healing work. The Sabian symbol of this triple conjunction is a prism of light. So if you can do anything for yourself in this coming weeks, even really all the way through April, these are potent, potent times to be engaging with holistic healing, soul healing work. But I do warn you to be aware of what is actually true healing and what is an illusion, because the two are very difficult to distinguish if you don't understand the energy of the unconscious. So superficial words and affirmations are not true soul healing. Soul healing is an embodiment. And this is a very, very powerful and supportive time for embodying and getting health and healing back into your body, working with your unconscious mind, in healing at a really true soul level. And if you're interested in working with someone, and you're in Phoenix, I do have availability for somatic release and reprogramming sessions. I'm incredibly passionate about this. You can reach out to me on my website or on Instagram at Kismet Mystic. But I hope any or all of this is supportive to you, and I'll be back soon. Bye for now.